Everyone, back here with Sean. First things first. Sean, how are you?
Great, Jason. How's everything with you?
Good, good. It's finally feeling like summer. Hopefully next week I'll have a sunburn and it'll make it look like I actually go outside and I don't look so pale.
It's people think it's ice cream time in the summer, but when it comes to eating ice cream at home in front of the TV, I think it's seasonless, all year round.
Very fair, very fair. No, I've definitely had ice cream in the middle of winter, so
You wouldn't be
uh,
the only one.
well, let's hop into things. So you guys just filed your Q. Um,
Yep.
let's go into, I guess, a general Q review. First things first. How did you feel about it? Maybe talk about some of the highlights. Your three good parts, maybe even some of the parts that might people might have questions about, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Jason. So we had our biggest quarter ever in terms of gross sales. We did over 280,000 in gross sales, and the virus hit really towards the end of the quarter. I think a lot of the disruption started really in early to mid March, where people started going into lockdown, and maybe they started buying some toilet paper in February, but nothing else really happened too much until March. And so we were already on track for our biggest quarter ever. We're very excited about the new chains. One thing to point out, and we were not sure of this, we didn't talk about it because we weren't able to necessarily always get the most accurate and up-to-date information. But we announced previously we were rolling into Jewel and Shaw's, so those are two major Albertsons divisions. We had been told that we were in all the supermarkets for Shaw's in March, but it turned out that I guess there was a small portion that we hadn't been rolled into, and now we are. They finished that up in early May. And in Jewel, they had to postpone the entire rollout because of the virus. So now, as of when we filed, which was May 20th, we were in all of Jewel locations, all of Shaw's locations. So basically, we're in about 4 times as many supermarkets now as we were 12 months ago, which is a really awesome statistic. We're going to be adding some new supermarket chains in the next couple of weeks that we'll be able to announce. So there's a lot of growth going on in terms of both the number of stores that we're in and the number of units that consumers are pulling off the shelf. So we're really excited about the trajectory that we have right now.
Amazing. So year to date, 4 times as many stores. You came off your biggest quarter ever. Even despite the virus. So all the
Yeah.
great things. Well, Sean, there's another thing in your queue that you guys want to touch on. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty standard in the supermarket space. When you put a new product on the shelf, you pay what's called slotting. It's basically the price of admission to get on shelf. Not every retailer charges slotting, but most of the major supermarkets across the country do. Sometimes it's a big number, sometimes it's a small number, but you do have to pay slotting. And the interesting thing about slotting is this. So if you were to pay, let's say you sign on with a new supermarket, and they're going to charge you $30,000 in total slotting, okay? And they buy $70,000 worth of product from you. So your gross sales is $70,000, and you've got the $30,000 slotting fee. But on the income statement, the FASB, which is the Federal Accounting Standards Board, what they want you to do is you're only able to show $40,000. So the $30,000 that you pay in slotting gets lopped off the total sales, the gross sales number, on a dollar for dollar basis. Okay, so it looks like on the income statement that the gross sales number is lower than it actually was. So what we're doing on all of our filings going forward is we're including a section that breaks out the gross sales number, and then we show how we get from the gross number, subtract away the sales discounts and the slotting, and get to that net number, so that because I think for an investor in a fast-growing company like ours, what they're wanting to see is traction. Are consumers pulling the product? Is more product being sold this quarter than last? And we could be having our best quarter ever, and a huge retailer like a Kroger says they want the product, and we have this huge slotting expense, and it's going to make the income statement not be as clear, I think, to the investor as what I think people are looking for. Obviously, the FASB has a different opinion. We go by what they say, of course, but we are going to have that section in the filings going forward that breaks it out so that our investors can see both sets of numbers.
Awesome. I think that's great that you guys are going above and beyond their show. I mean, you're right. Really, at the end of the day, people want to see growth, and if that number's hiding a lot of it, it makes sense to show people. Is there
Yeah, we
anything
think
else
so.
you is there anything else you want to say about the queue?
No, I mean, look, we're just super excited. Like I said, we're in 4 times as many stores. We're going to be adding more stores. I do think, and this is not specifically about the queue or future Ks, I do want investors to know we do plan to pay a lot more slotting. We're going to get into more of these stores. We're going to get more opportunities. We're rolling out aggressively because we've got this huge opportunity here. We're not going to shy away from slotting. It's not, I don't think it's to our advantage. For any investors, I think that want to play scared or play small, this is maybe not the right thing for them. I don't know. We have to run that by the attorney to see if that's okay to leave that in. But, we're going to be a little bit aggressive. There's going to be slotting. We think we're going to have opportunities to roll into some more major supermarkets, that we're meeting with later this year. And, that's the price of growing this into a national brand. And we mentioned it in the filing, and we want people to understand that we are going to be rolling into all these stores, hopefully. And when they charge slotting, we're going to pay it, and we're going to walk in the front door.
Awesome. I guess to touch on one question, that we're seeing pretty often is, despite COVID and lockdown stuff, how's your communication and your conversations going with potentially new distributors? Are you finding it busier than before coronavirus, or how are these conversations going? Just in a general sense, maybe to let people know where your head's at in
Yeah.
regards to these conversations.
Well, there was about 4 to 6 weeks there where nobody wanted to even talk to anybody because they were just the category managers. I mean, their first and foremost responsibility is to make sure that the shelves are stocked for the people that were coming in. And obviously, supermarket velocity had a huge surge and a huge spike there. I would say in late March and through most of April. So they were just mostly concerned with making sure the product was moving in. They weren't really thinking about optimizing their set. What new products should we put in? What flavors? They were just concerned with the existing stuff and keeping it flowing. But we've certainly seen. I mean, now we're in the third week of May, I guess now, fourth week. Everybody's kind of come around. I mean, earlier this month, so really 2-3 weeks ago, we heard back from a couple of chains that we felt very good about. They were finally resurfacing from the onslaught of just having to try to keep things going through the COVID surge. And they indicated to us that they want the product. One of them has already placed their first initial purchase orders, been shipped, and we're starting to get more communication from other retailers again. Everybody feels like they're going to be probably pretty much on schedule in terms of having new meetings later this year, through the summer and into the fall. We've heard back from our broker in New York that we signed on about 2 weeks ago. We've had samples going out already. The feedback is great. I'd be surprised if we don't have some New York distribution coming that we can announce pretty soon. And so I think that, yeah, for 4 to 6 weeks, it was dead. I mean, there was very little activity in terms of selling into new accounts. And now it just seems like it's not only back to normal, but maybe people are making up even a little bit for lost time.
Amazing. Well, sounds good. I guess one other thing, if you want to touch on it, is kind of not so much projections, but goals for the rest of the year. Obviously we're going to be coming out of lockdown here, hopefully, let's just say by the end of June. So you have a good
Yeah.
6 months of, of stuff to do. What's kind of on your bucket list or your list of things that you want to
Bucket list.
accomplish?
How old do you think I am, Jason?
Yeah, you look 30.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's call it a wish list. I think that makes me feel a little bit, make my wife and my life insurance agent feel a little bit better. On our wish list, I mean, look, it's pretty simple. We know we're rolling into more chains. We know we're meeting with some of the biggest chains and the biggest chains in the country, because those have been set for months. And we want to be able to go in there with a strong story. And I think it's largely built around two things. It's built around an increase in velocity, and it's built around the concept of hitting a tipping point within the pregnancy community. I think, that certainly helped us get into the 2 new chains that are taking us on. I think everybody understands that if we actually become the official ice cream of pregnant women, we're already the official ice cream of the American Pregnancy Association, but when we actually become the official preferred ice cream of pregnant women, that the sky is the limit for us. So our focus is on building up awareness, building up trial, building up communication within the pregnancy community. And if we're able to do that the way I think we will be able to in the next few months, and our velocity continues to increase, I think we're going to have a lot of really successful meetings with buyers from some of these national and huge regional chains. And I think that we're going to be in really great shape as we roll into 2021 when they're getting ready to reset their shelves. I think we stand to be in a lot of major retailers. I'm not going to put a count on the number of doors. Obviously, we're already in about 700 stores. Certainly, we're going to move into the thousands if we stay on track. And I don't know where that number might end up, but the main thing is velocity keeps increasing, awareness within the pregnancy community keeps increasing, and we're 1 to 2 years away from being truly national here.
Amazing. Well, I think it was a great recap, and I think you covered a lot of high level stuff. Obviously, covered the queue, covered some other goals,
Covered my life insurance.
Your wish list. So I think it's great. The big takeaways, just to recap. So your highest quarter ever. You're in 4 times as many stores as you were a year ago, which is incredible growth so far. And I guess we'll see where we're at in the next quarter.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it.
Awesome. For anyone who has questions, make sure you can jump in. You can put a comment below. You can also join the Telegram we just started. If you're an interested party, whether you're a shareholder or not, feel free. You can drop in, ask other people questions as well. Sean's there pretty frequently. Anyway, Sean, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you, Jason.